nothing that is happening with Bitcoin price right now has anything to do with Bitcoin, crypto, Michael Saylor, Binance, Gary Gensler or Peppercoins. I'll show you exactly what drives Bitcoin price right now and how we can use that insight. Here is Bitcoin price. Here is Bitcoin price overlaid with 1 divided by DXY, so the inverse of the dollar strength index or the dollar currency index. And as you can see, they follow each other exactly. And because it's the inverse, that means that when DXY goes up, 1 divided by DXY goes down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And if you zoom in on the last 4 weeks, you see that this still holds true. Here is Bitcoin price. Here is Bitcoin price overlaid with 1 divided by US02Y, the inverse of the US government bonds 2-year yield. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, just shifted a few days in time. And it's easier to see this if painting it as the inverse like I've done it here. So when the DXY or the US government 2-year bond yield goes up, Bitcoin tends to go down and vice versa. Why is that? It's very simple. If the dollar gets weaker, you need more dollar to buy the same thing, like a Bitcoin. If the dollar gets stronger, you need fewer fiat dollars to buy one piece of the digital gold. If the yield gets higher, it's more attractive to buy bonds instead of buying some speculative asset like Bitcoin. If the yield is lower, it's less attractive to buy bonds. And some of that money flows into speculative stuff, like crypto. So that's why. Now, armed with this insight, we can look at those 2 charts and see if we can figure out what's up with them. If we take the DXY first, the dollar currency index or the dollar strength index. Over several years here, this was one of the easiest to analyze charts, and it gave us huge clues for what Bitcoin was up to. Now, once again, this starts painting a very well-defined pattern here, with a clear support that held 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and the resistance that acted as resistance here, second time here, third time here in March, and up until yesterday, it looked like this one was heading up to the resistance area a second time. Now it turned earlier. What that means is hard to say. Is it heading down to support again? Or is it just a wiggle and it's still moving up to the resistance? Impossible to say from this chart. But the good thing here is that we have a well-defined range. And then a breakout becomes actionable. If this breaks out on the upside, good chances are that Bitcoin is going to give us an entry at this support, or maybe even the head and shoulder pattern target here at 23,800. If this range instead breaks out on the downside, here we'll have a huge clue for Bitcoin. Perhaps that's all we need to break through this massive 30k resistance, the multi-year support and resistance going all the way back to January 2021. And then we might be off to the races. The 2-year yield, also by the way, look how cleanly this one has trended with the Larsen line. I don't want to brag, but this is pretty beautiful, isn't it? If we now zoom in, right now we are not trending. We are consolidating around this level at 4.26. That was support, 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 support throughout the autumn and winter 2022. Then it was briefly resistance in January, broke out but didn't hold. Then it was a resistance, 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 resistance. And now just 2 weeks ago, it broke through on the upside. Now the question is, will this turn into support? If this holds and starts moving up again, well, then maybe the support targets are in play for Bitcoin. If it breaks down instead, well, then maybe Bitcoin is off to the races. What I'm showing you here is that we don't need some crystal ball and try to predict the future. That's very difficult. We can instead look at some clues and react to what actually happens in the market. Now when doing these overlay charts, I saw something that really stood out. Let's see if you saw it too. If you look at Bitcoin together with the inverse of DXY first, look how well Bitcoin has held up the past couple of weeks. So while it has dropped since early May, since the 11th of May, Bitcoin price has held flat, while the inverse of DXY has continued down. We see the same if we overlay the yield. Since 10th of May, Bitcoin price has held flat, while the inverse of the yield has fallen, meaning the yield has gone up. That's definitely a sign of strength for Bitcoin, counteracting a bit of the head and shoulders top formation, with a head right at this multi-year resistance, which would otherwise have been pretty ugly. What about the altcoins then? Here, the situation is very interesting. If we zoom in on the recent Bitcoin dominance trended up on most time frames, until it came to this key level at about 48-49%, where it was rejected 6 times in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6. It hit the level, but it hasn't fallen back, which is dramatically different from the previous 5 times. And the great thing with these clearly defined levels is that they can be actionable. If we break out here, that would probably be the best if we want to make money on altcoins. But hang on a minute now, CTO, why are you saying that? Shouldn't the dominance drop if we want Altseason? Yes, definitely. But the higher this level goes first, maybe up here, before it starts diving downwards, the bigger multiples we can get out of the altcoins. The ideal scenario would be that this runs up first, together with BTC USD. Then Bitcoin price levels out, and this one nosedives, as has happened many times before. That's where some random altcoin position can turn into life-changing money, as it has done for so many over all the previous cycles. But what if the Bitcoin dominance turns here? After all, this is the key resistance. Well, that can absolutely happen. As you know, I really stressed and worked super hard to launch Large Online Pro a couple of weeks ago, right? The main reason for that is this chart. I saw we were hitting resistance. If it rejects here and we get the run down, that might look small if zooming out here, but that would be multiple X in many altcoins. This week since I launched it 10th of May, I think, that's here. The altcoin market has been really boring, as you can see here. Nothing is happening, right? And I'm really happy for that, because you guys need to get familiar with the tools and exchanges and everything to be ready. Because when this starts, if we look at the duration of the previous alt seasons, they are over in a couple of weeks. The first time I really experienced it was here in the end of 2017. From 8 December 2017 to 14th of January 2018 is just 4 weeks. This huge drop from April 2021 to 19th of May, 46 days. And look at all the drops since then, 40 days, 47 days. And if anything, things go faster and faster. So most people wait and wait for Altseason. And then when it happens, they will miss most of it and end up chasing after it too late. Don't do that mistake. If you're going for the altcoins, you need to get in at the beginning of the trends. Not the end of the trend. That's the whole point. Now I feel we're in a really good state. The tool is stabilizing, you guys are getting familiar with it. We actually had one issue with an external API that was down a few hours this morning. I always check my Large Online Pro in the morning, and this morning it was not working. I flew out of the bed and could fix it fast. Over the past 2 weeks, we've still had about 99% uptime, and each time there's some glitch, I'm adding some more robustness to cater for that particular issue, and I'm confident that we'll keep adding nines to that uptime statistic. But this point in the market, when this one is going flat like this, is not the time where we make the real money with altcoins. That we do if this starts diving down, like it did here. And then you'd better be ready already. And that could happen any time, looking at this chart. That's why I was pushing so hard to get this out. That's why I want to incentivize you to get the onboarding done now, before something happens. Because I know already that 90% of the general public on crypto Twitter are not going to do that. They're going to wait until things have already pumped like crazy. And it's at the end of the cycle. That's when they will buy in. When you guys are probably already selling into their buy orders. When I'm recording this, there's now 5 days and 49 minutes left out of the 30 days that I gave for this introduction deal. I think it's fair that you guys who are brave enough to join early and help me improve it pay less than those who join later when everything is stable and built out. A huge thanks to everyone who has sent in suggestions and bug reports. It's been super helpful, and I have a long list of additions that I'll start adding to the tool once this stability introduction period is done. We are also working on big additions to the Pro plan behind the scenes, but I won't spoil that in advance. So the deadline to avail this price is June 7th, 5 p.m. Stockholm time, which is 8 a.m. PT, 11 a.m. ET, 11 p.m. Singapore time. After that, this price here will double to 5k. And to remind, this is for people who have taken the course before. If you have not taken the course, it's this price, 8,900, but I don't recommend that. Then I recommend taking the course first. And just to be clear, this deadline is for people who have joined from before. We have members from 2019 and so on. If you start the course today, you still have 30 days from today, otherwise it would not be reasonable. And please everyone, don't join the last hour. I don't have a huge call center or something, it's Ngop and me here. But do take action on this, guys. I love the tool myself. This is what I always wanted. Now I have it. I'm really happy. And while I'm still hoping that we get a breakout of the dominance with Bitcoin going up, and then at some point we get the mother of all alt seasons from much higher levels, Bitcoin dominance could also reverse from exactly here. And if you look at the biggest altcoin, BTC versus ETH, of course the dominating situation is this rectangle. But if we zoom into the low time frames, we have a micropute news. This level here at 0.067 was support, then resistance, now it's reclaimed. And of course, if we are to reach the top of the range, we have to have some positive developments in the range first. And if we look at ETH USD, it has trended up beautifully and we're getting really close to the resistance here. A breakout here could be actionable when large line is gold like this. Don't get scammed, guys. If you want the pro tool or the course, you can only get it here. ctolarsson.com. Everything else is a scam. Thank you, tack. CTO Larsson out. Hej då.